Hey, this is Bill DeMott. If you think you're tough enough, you'll listen to In the Room with Brady Hicks. And if you're not tough enough, you'll listen to the Stro and Kathy. But I'm here to tell you, Hugh Morris says so, Bill DeMott says so, and if you have to answer the general election, he says so. In the Room with Brady Hicks, you better be listening.
Happy New Year! 1, 2, listen. 1, 2, 3, 4. Maybe it's much too early in the game. But I thought I'd ask you just the same. What are you doing, New Year?
All right, ladies and gentlemen, it's New Year's and a new year. It's a new start, and it's In the Room on the VOC Nation Wrestling Network. Right here live. We're live each and every Tuesday night. VOCNation.com, and of course after the fact on all your favorite podcast platforms. I'm Brady Hicks. I've got with me the lovely Kathy Fitz. What's going on, Kathy?
Not much, Brady. Happy New Year, you guys.
Happy New Year. Yeah, I stayed in this year. It was kind of a laid back New Year's for a change. Other than last year, I mean, generally I go out or I do something really crazy. So how was your New Year?
It was good to the idiots behind me. We should have thought about going to scare my cat out of the room.
Oh yeah, it was real bad here. It felt like New Year's in Sarajevo or something. The way the bombs were going off, and it's legal here now. And we also have the one and only Maestro of professional wrestling. We have Papa Stro. How you doing, sir? Happy New Year.
Happy New Year too. As Eddie Murphy would say, Merry New Year.
Merry New Year. I love it. I love it. Yeah. We're going to have a good time tonight, guys. I can feel it. 914-338 is the 914-338-1885 is the number to call in tonight, and we'll be able to interact with you. Right now the phone lines are wide open, so if you guys call in, we'll be able to get you right on as well. And we're working on some guests. Kathy just sent me a bunch of contacts, but from the convention a week or two ago, and I have just been so slammed that I just haven't taken a moment to do it. But we're working on some exciting guests, and I think the new year is really shaping up. So be sure to stay tuned there. On the VOC Nation front, real quick, I just wanted to, say thank you to Rock and Roll Union, which recently signed off for the last time. They're done doing the podcast, so I wanted to say thank you to those guys. But there's lots of other great content available on the network as well, between WCW Retro, Brisco and Big Ace, Bumps and Thumps, and I mean, all the great content that's available. Just be sure to check it out. Just go to VOCNation.com, or like I said, on your favorite podcast platform as well. Trying to think what else. Yeah, so we're working on some guests. It's that traditional New Year's lull, after the drunken episode, which, by the way, it was really nice, Apparently, Kathy, you can get drunk and not make a fool of yourself and not get sick. That's entirely possible.
It's amazing, isn't it?
It really is. Yeah, you just got to mix in some water, and it's a very nice thing, and I think everybody around me appreciated it as well. So the drunken episode, a huge success. Thank you to everybody who called in. I hope that some of those callers don't just kind of become once-a-year callers. And this is one of the reasons. I've always said this to Ray. Like, for some reason, that guy is like kryptonite for the callers. Every time he comes on, the callers are just going to not be around for at least 6 weeks after. And we're closing in on like 3 or 4 right now. I know he listens, Ray. I'm just having a good time, of course, but yeah, that's it's kind of what it is, I guess. But I love the callers. I love each and every one of them. You guys would be interested to know that Dustin did sell his WrestleMania tickets. He sold his day one tickets, and God, that guy's back to jet setting everywhere with Seth Rollins. God, yeah, he sold his day one, Kathy, and like I showed you, I offered to buy his WrestleMania tickets just to call him out on it, and of course I just missed that opportunity. $1,600 he sold them for. So yeah.
How much?
Yeah. 1,600.
How much?
I assume a piece.
Yeah, okay.
Knowing him, it's probably a piece. It's probably 16,000 a piece. Knowing him, yeah. So 914-338-1885. Speaking of Seth Rollins, Kathy, you'll appreciate this. So, and Seth is a great guy, by the way, from the Ring of Honor and all that stuff. I used to interact with him during the HD Net days all the time. More on that in a second, because Kathy had a really cool topic. But Kathy, we picked the colors for our wedding this week.
Oh, cool. What are they?
Well, it's going to be we're thinking like a red and like a gold kind of for autumn,
Oh, nice.
Yeah, really nice. Because Seth Rollins has a red and gold suit that I want to wear, tuxedo that I want to wear for the wedding.
Oh, God, I remember that. Oh.
It'd be amazing. Stro, don't you think I should get the Seth Rollins tuxedo? Everybody will be talking about it.
That's a sweet looking tuxedo he had on.
It really is. He has some great looking. He has some great outfits, I gotta say.
He does. kind
of shades of Jesse the Body a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, she said she don't want me to, but we're not looking at each other's outfits beforehand, so I kind of have carte blanche there.
Oh my God! Don't you do it?
I was thinking everybody get the black tuxedo with the red bow tie, or the gold tuxedo with the red bow tie, and I get the red tuxedo with the gold bow tie. It'd look really nice, Kathy. You got to admit. So 914-338-1885. But yeah. So your topic tonight, Kathy, and let me just preface this by saying. That I haven't finished the pay-per-view. I know obviously Brock Lesnar won the title, the WWE title, because Roman wasn't there. Now, I know what I hope is going to happen, and we can certainly talk about that tonight. I definitely want to tell you what I hope is going to happen, but what I think is going to happen is a totally different thing. Totally different. Anyway, so as far as Brock Lesnar goes, what I would like to see happen is to build toward 2 matches against Bobby Lashley. You do the Royal Rumble and you do the Elimination Chamber. And if they each win one, you can do the rubber match between the 2 at WrestleMania. It would be the culmination of their feud, and it would be amazing. And he can always go back to Roman Reigns at a future date. Because you've also got Drew McIntyre that you want to push on SmackDown. And Drew McIntyre's been getting that slow build, To me, that was the main event, what should have been the main event last year of WrestleMania. And I don't think it's any less valuable because you've got the 2 biggest stars in the company, basically, at least the 2 biggest full-timers. I would go Drew and Roman as the other main event. That's what I would do. Now, what are they going to do, Kathy?
Yeah.
They're probably going to have Bobby Lashley beat Brock for the title. And, then Brock will go on to challenge Roman. And Roman will probably cost Brock the title. That's probably what's going to happen. And I don't like that.
There's rumor that Drew McIntyre is taking some time off because he's had neck problems.
Oh, I didn't hear that.
So
that's
hopefully he'll be back in time for Mania.
We'll yeah, I hope so. Did they say when? Because I would assume he was going to be a big part of the Royal Rumble.
Well, they did an injury angle at day 1. with him and
I
Happy
did
Corbin.
see that with Corbin, yeah, and Madcap. I did see that. That stinks. I just assumed that they was going to feud with Corbin until the Rumble.
Right.
No. That's me doing the thumbs down, Kathy. Yeah, so anyway. 914-338-1885. That's so it's going to be that kind of a night. I can feel it. So anyway, Kathy, your idea. And I thought this was really cool because all the other staff is kind of like off tonight, and they wouldn't necessarily be able to contribute to this. Patrick could to a certain extent because he's been around the New England scene for a while, but everybody else really doesn't have a stake in the wrestling business like we've had over the years. Favorite memories that we've personally firsthand witnessed, funny things that happened, funny stories, not being malicious. I want to clarify that, not being malicious.
No.
But we've seen some pretty funny stuff, and some of it we could probably even talk about without getting in too much trouble. So, yeah.
We don't have to mention names. You can just say at a certain period in time.
I was going to mention names.
No. Oh, me too.
We don't need to. Do you have anything that comes to mind, Kathy, specifically? I'm looking at my list right now. I publish a top 50 list every year, and I kind of change it every year, add and take things away as they happen. All right, go ahead, Kathy. You got one?
Well, before we get there,
yeah,
I do just want to pass on sympathies of passing of a promoter from California, from the Big Time Wrestling, Kirk White, who was also Bret Hart's agent. Sadly, he passed away by a massive heart attack on Christmas Eve.
That's sad.
Yeah.
Does he have a lot of family?
Sympathies to his family. Yeah, sympathies to his family and all the members of the Big Time Wrestling in California. And, he trained Bailey was still there.
Right, yeah.
And a bunch of other guys. And
he also was responsible for the rise of Malcolm. I don't know if you knew that.
Yes.
Big time. Yep, that was Malcolm.
And
that's where he cut his teeth. Sorry.
I know Brett's taking it really hard because I talked to him the other day.
Okay.
He was like one of his best friends. So, just keep him in prayers. But
oh, for sure, for sure. I didn't know the guy, but I've heard so many great things about him.
Yeah. One story comes to mind with the first time actually when Rey Mysterio and Psychosis was coming in. I had to pick him up at the airport for ECW. And I always said I would never hold a sign that said ECW.
Mm-hmm.
If I didn't recognize the person, not doing it. Well, I'm getting ready to leave the hotel. And I said to Colt Scorpio, what does Mysterio look like? Because I was about as tall as that lamp.
Okay.
So I get to the airport, I'm standing there with a sign that says ECW, and Psychosis comes off, and he goes, "Hi, I Psychosis, Nietzsche." I said, "Hi, how you doing?" He goes, "Ray coming." I said, "Okay." So they wear a mask. What am I looking for? So here comes this young kid, literally platform shoes.
And just so that people understand, this is before he lost his mask in WCW. This is really when he first started in the U.S.
And he comes walking off, and he's like, "Hey, how you doing? I'm Ray." I'm like, "Oh, hi, Ray. I'm Kathy." He's like, "Okay." We go get the bags. We get to back to the hotel.
Yeah.
Now at this point, we're staying at a hotel in South Philly called it was a Round Hotel, and it became a nickname called Cylinder of Sin. But anyhow, we get to the hotel, and there's at least 10 cop cars out front. And these two guys just look at me, and I'm like, oh, God. One of the ECW wrestlers at the time had a little bit too much partying.
Okay.
And they would literally, the police were walking him out, handcuffed.
Oh, no.
And all I remember is looking at Ray going, oh, they're never coming back again, ever. And I'm just thinking Ray's calling Conan, and that's it. They're never coming back.
Oh, no.
And the funniest thing about it, Ray put this in his book, put me in his book.
Yeah.
And anytime we're all together, or when I first met Dominic, he was like, tell him the story about the hotel, okay? I'm like, yeah, okay.
Now, how old was Dominic when you first met him?
Oh, well, this is a couple years ago when I met Dominic when he was about 9 or 10.
Okay.
That time we didn't tell the story.
Okay.
This story was told when we were in Baltimore, when Dominic was just getting ready to start. He was still training. He was ready to make his debut. And and it was so funny because it was neat to always see Dominic as you're talking to him, and Dom starts like leaning in and laughing because he wants to hear all the stories about his dad.
Yeah.
And I just sit there and go, you really don't want me to tell the story, do you? He goes, yeah, tell him. I was like, thanks, Ray. But that's one of them. All right, your turn, Stro.
Yes, Stro. You got to have a good Rey Mysterio story, I would think.
Oh, my God. Rey Mysterio? Oh, goodness. I know one time where I was at this lounge after one of the shows, and I had all these people wanting to meet Ray, right? And
yeah,
and it was like, wow, okay, where Ray was, and then I said, yeah, he's right over there, and I looked over, and he had a whole crowd of people around him, right? And
right.
I mean, he was just he had the biggest grin on his face and everything. Is like everybody just loved the guy. I wanted to meet the guy. It's just it was like whenever I was in the show with Ray, I never failed. I would have all these people coming to ask me, where to meet Ray and see Ray, and man, he's such a great guy. He really was, and he was infectious too. It showed, and it kind of rubbed off on a lot of people.
He just seems like such a nice guy. I've never had the pleasure, but I've been a fan for a long time. I actually, for those who don't know, and this actually kind of segues into my story, but I collect luchador wrestling masks. I have for years. And my first mask ever was a Rey Mysterio mask. I wore it to WrestleMania 20. Yeah, he was great. He was great, and like I said, from what I hear, I've never met him personally, but I know a lot of people who are really close with him, and he seems like he'd be amazing. As far as my story, because like I said, no connection with Rey Mysterio whatsoever, other than the fact that Kathy gave me his number probably 5 years ago to try and get him on the show, and he wasn't able to at the time. So I used to do the NWA Legends FanFest conventions. We were at the one in particular down in Atlanta, kind of in the beginning of the VOC Nation before we really even transitioned into like the podcast world and everything, when we were still doing the radio show in Philadelphia, Bruce and I. So we're down there, and we had our own table and everything. We had Jim Neidhart, Jimmy Hart, and DDP with us, signing autographs and everything. And we were kind of taking turns, Kathy, you know how it is when you're at a convention, you take turns, kind of being their handler, taking the pictures for them, collecting the money, that kind of stuff. So when I was off, I'm walking around, and I thought, what would be a lot of fun, Kathy? To go upstairs and put on my suit and wear a wrestling luchador mask around the lobby, and just see how many people would think that I was a legitimate wrestler. And I went up, and my co-host at the time, or one of the other co-hosts, Albert, he did so as well. We went upstairs, and I have a picture of this. So we're walking around the lobby wearing our suits, Stro, with our masks. We looked like Mexican movie stars. It was absolutely amazing. Signing autographs, high-fiving the wrestlers as we even like set up like a little like spot in the corner where people would come over and we'd sign. We didn't even have a table. We're just signing autographs. And at one point, Kathy, and by the way, people are talking Spanish to me. I don't speak a lick of Spanish. I would just like kind of nod and, whatever. I'm out in the lobby, and Bill Apter comes up to me. And this is one of my favorite pictures from wrestling, actually. Bill Apter comes right up to me, and he shakes my hand, and he says, "Thank you for all that you do." And then he was asking me about where I compete in Mexico. I'm not even lying about that. So I've got this picture of this guy Jay that I met down in Atlanta. One of the fans took the picture of Bill and I in a stare down. It's one of my most prized possessions. It's absolutely amazing. But he had no idea it was me, and I was really proud of that, actually. We signed a lot of autographs that day. We also, because Albert does speak a little Spanish, so he was talking with the chambermaids, and they were getting really excited. I think they really thought we were legitimate sensations. So.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. No, it was fun. It was definitely a fun time. Go ahead.
That's like when Ray came back to wrestle.
Mm-hmm.
My friend Rob and I were up in New York to see the show.
Yeah.
And we're sitting there eating lunch across the street from the building, and all of a sudden my phone rings, and it's Ray saying, "Hey, do you need tickets for tonight?" And I looked at my friend Rob, and I showed him the phone. He went, I'm like, I think AJ has me covered, so I text AJ.
Mm-hmm.
AJ's like, "Yeah, I got you, girl." I said, "Okay." So afterwards, we're in the building, and we're like second row from the ring on the floor. And Ray comes out. It's dark. They're getting ready to end a commercial. And Ray's walking around the ring, like saying hi to people. Well, my friend Rob's going, "Ray, Kathy." He looks over and he goes, "Kathy, let's get a picture." I'm like, "Ray, it's dark. You're 2 rows away from me."
Yeah.
Really? I said, "Stick to wrestling, dude. Forget the photography." So we're laughing about that. And he says, "I'll call you when I get done. I said, "Okay." So as we're leaving, Rob's like, How much bars on your phone?" I said, "I'm down to 5. Well, poor Rob is freaking out that I'm going to not have enough bars or power when Ray calls.
Right.
He is absolutely dying. So we get to the car, we tell Ray where we're at, and he pulls in and we're talking and everything. And it was so good to just, and Rob was like, "He's like a normal guy." I said, "Yeah." Yeah.
That's cool. Kathy, do you remember, and this kind of like along those lines with Ray, but if you remember when we were at, I forget if it was Raw or SmackDown after the Royal Rumble a couple years ago, and New Day was on the show, and you and I are sitting maybe about like 2 rows back or whatever. We're right there, and during the show I just start texting with Xavier Woods, who I had met at the Super 8 years ago, and we stayed in touch. Stro, he used to drunk text me from NXT back in the day, like the early days of NXT.
Yeah.
Like, there'd be many Saturday nights or like Sunday mornings where I wake up to like a string of like drunken texts from Xavier Woods. Wow. And it was amazing, He's such a nice guy, such a great guy. And if you remember, we were actually, after the show, you guys were doing the show, so it must have been SmackDown because it was a Tuesday. So Kathy and I come out, we call into the show as we're driving, and I'm still texting with Xavier, and he says he's at this bar right down the street from where I live. filming something for the WWE network. So Kathy and I say, like, would you mind if we, like, go join you or whatever, go hang out for a little bit? He said, yeah, like, come on down. Kathy and I got to hang out with Xavier Woods that night at the at Barcade in Fishtown. Great. I really like Xavier Woods. He's such a nice guy. Like, to see him as the King of the Ring, and he won that this year, obviously, in addition to being a huge tag star and everything. And it's like, you know, he gets a lot of gruff from people because he's not Kofi Kingston or Big E, but he played such an important role in that group. And I don't know that everybody recognizes. I really feel like he was kind of like the main creative juice behind everything that they did.
Absolutely.
Yeah, I mean, always really nice, and
Yeah.
You know, it's so funny because everybody, you know, I mean, Stroh's worked with him. I've hung out with a bunch of the guys. So have you, Brady. But we see him on a different aspect.
Sure.
You know, for years I traveled with Sherry, and you know, all the crazy things she did, which not if I can't be anyhow. No, it was just like some of the crazy things, you know, and but you realize deep down they're an everyday person.
Oh, for sure. For sure.
Just get paid a lot more than we.
Yeah, and in some cases less.
Yeah, this is true.
Depending on who it is. Yeah. Once again, I just want to remind you guys, 914-338-1885. We're talking about our favorite kind of funny wrestling memories over the years between the three of us. I would imagine, I mean, Stro, how long have you been wrestling? About, I'm going to guess at least 30 years, right?
Oh, yeah, over 30. Yeah.
Over 30, okay.
Yeah.
So what, say 35? Something like that?
At least, if not more.
Whatever it is. Okay,
I feel
so
like I've been
anyway,
doing it forever.
Okay. Well, I mean, I'm just thinking that you've been doing it for, we'll say, over 30 years. Man, I don't want to make you sound too old because you're not that much older than me. I've been doing this for, 20 years, I guess, if you count the pro wrestling websites that I started writing for when I started, you know, covering shows and stuff like that before Pro Wrestling Illustrated. So now we're up over 50. Kathy, I got a feeling you're going to take us close to 100 with the experience, the experience levels. So it's pretty cool. It's a cool concept. And again, we can talk about whatever you guys want as well in the wrestling world. 914-338-1885. Stro, I know you have, like, lived a life. I would love to hear some kind of crazy, funny story from you. Not to put you on the spot, but this is, like, where you shine.
I have so many. I don't know where to begin, actually. Oh, gosh. I don't know. Some of them I've probably told already, but, I mean, trying to think one that I haven't told on here. Did I tell you the Andre the Giant story?
No, I don't think so.
Okay.
I don't think so.
This was like years ago, right? Down in Florida. And I was there, when I was younger, and I was there to see Mike Graham and Steve Kern, who at the time was one of my favorite tag teams. Dusty Rhodes, and I think Barry and Blackjack was there too, and a lot of the Florida guys were there.
Yeah.
And my aunt and uncle used to live in Tampa, so I can, like, go to Tampa and watch the shows, right?
Oh, cool.
Andre pulls up in the parking lot, right, with the bushy hair and everything, and turned out he just not long got off set for the $6 Million Man series as playing the role as demonic Sasquatch, right?
Right.
So his head's above the car door, right? And he gets out of the car and he's walking towards me, and for the first time in my life, I felt like some other human being was going to eat me.
Yeah.
And I've seen a lot of big guys over the years, but he was like the most intimidating sight I've ever seen. And maybe because I was younger too, but Dusty Rhodes, who I thought at the time saved my life, came over and introduced me, broke the ice between Andre and me, and telling me, "Hey kid, don't worry about a thing. Andre, it's cool. Say hello, Andre, Big Daddy." You know. And Andre puts his hand down to me and says, "How do you do?" Right?
Yeah.
And I went to shake his hand. My hand disappears completely. You know, because his hand.
Oh, sure.
Ginormous, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like looking up, going, "Fine,
like
sir."
the Hulk hand. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
And he was such a nice guy too. I just completely how nice he was. But you know, first glance, it's like, oh my God, it's terrifying. You know what I mean? But that's how I got to meet Andre.
That's cool. Now, did you ever have the chance to interact with Andre as a peer, like as another wrestler, or was he before your time a little bit?
Well, you know, he was there when I was kind of had the interest up, right?
Okay.
To be in the business, and even then he gave me some good advice.
Oh, cool.
You know, because I was telling him that even back then I was telling him that I wanted to break in, right? And he gave me some good advice. So, I mean, he was such a nice dude. But
oh, for sure.
But like I said, first glance when you first meet him, it's like, oh my God, so overwhelming, right?
Yeah.
I mean, certain people get intimidated by others for certain reasons, but with him, it was just all his presence, this huge aura about him, you know, larger than life.
Yeah, for sure. And when they say larger than life, that's really where that came from.
Yeah, no pun intended, him. Right?
Like that is literally where Vince got that. But like I've heard stories about like how Andre, he can be your best friend or your worst enemy. If he didn't like you, like you got some and we're not talking like you say when the Undertaker doesn't like you, you got a problem. Like right. I would imagine to the scale of like 20 with Andre. Just because of how much respect and how revered he was by everybody. Have either of you ever seen Andre on somebody's bad side?
I gotta tell you a funny story. That
sure.
Bill Apter told me because
I love Bill, by the way.
Oh yeah, he's amazing. I love him. We had some great matches too. God, he was so great to be in the ring with. But he told me a funny story about Andre and Macho Man Randy Savage one time, where you know, this is back when kayfabe was strong in the business, and we used to send messages between the referees back and forth to the locker rooms, right? And Andre sent word to the other locker room for Randy to not put too much baby oil on because he's hard to grab a hold of. He's slick, right?
Right.
So Andre's in the ring waiting for Macho Man. And Macho Man comes out to his grand entrance, you know, there's the robe and twirls around and everything. He gets in the ring, takes off his robe, and he's slicker than a snake. And Andre just loses his mind. Says, I said no oil.
Oh, no. And they didn't really care for each other.
He punishes Macho Man, sits on him, puts all his weight on him, and just punishes him throughout the whole match. And I think they had a show to the next town the next day. Yeah. And Andre's in the ring again waiting for him, right? Macho Man does his little spiel, right? He gets in the ring, takes his robe off. His skin's scaler than the Sahara Desert. So Andre took it much easier on him that night.
That's funny. That's funny. Kathy, have you ever seen an angry Andre?
No, I never did have the pleasure.
Have you ever seen an Andre and Haku bar fight against other people?
Oh God, I would love to see that one.
That's scary.
Bring out the popcorn.
You know, like for 12-year-old me, the Colossal Connection was like, hey, it was cool to see Andre around still, but like they weren't really perceived as like the best team, you know. But I would imagine that they had the shoot tag team title in the locker room for a long time.
Did I tell you guys about the basketball game I had with Barbarian and Ming? Face to face.
You did, but please tell it again. It's amazing.
Oh God.
Yes,
well, we used to play basketball in Orlando in between TV tapings there, right? Yeah. And Barb and Haku asked me if I can go find a partner and play 2-on-2. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And I literally asked everybody in the company, even the bookers. I mean, I even went to Kevin Stone. I mean, I asked to be a partner, and when I told him I was playing against, of course they give me the obvious. Oh no, it's all right. Look at the time, you know. So I ended up being a handicap 2-on-1. Me taking on Barb and Haku, and I
Right.
tell you something. I took more bumps in that court than I ever did in the ring with her. I mean, they were elbowing me, and Barb would block out the sun with his big paw, like shoot, butter, and. Funny, I tried to get cute one time and waistlock Haku as he's dribbling the ball, right? He literally drags me down the court, dribbling the ball, shoots, and scores. And by the time the game was over, I was all black and blue, right? But I guess I earned their respect for playing by myself, so they took me out to dinner that night. So, yeah, it was a good time.
That's amazing. That's amazing. 914-338-1885. Again, if you guys want to jump in. You were talking earlier about Bill Eadie. One of my favorite people that I've ever met in the wrestling business. He is a savage in the ring and a really intimidating guy. But behind the curtain, God, it was like sitting down with my grandfather and just like hanging out and like talking to him. He was amazing. I had that match where I was managing against them. And he's directing me, what I need to do, even when I'm against them. He's like, where I need to be, how to get the crowd to hate me. It was just absolutely amazing. We went out to a diner the one night after one of the shows on that loop, Kathy. You might have even been there. I don't remember. But we went to this diner.
I think I dropped Jack Collier off and came over.
Okay. Yeah, I think you're right. I think you came late. But we walk in, and so I was there with Bill Eadie and with Barry Dorso. So both members of Demolition. And we go in, and we sit down, and Bill proceeds to make all these, kind of kayfabe comments to the wait staff. It was absolutely amazing. Like, he's like, oh, I see you got this turkey sandwich gimmick here. Is that any good? And the lady's like, yeah, I mean, it's good. And it was just amazing, just like to hear him like talk, just to and he's doing it just to I guess you'd say pop everybody at the table, but it was just really funny. Between him and Barry. Yeah, no, that was a cherished moment for me. I'm underselling how funny and how cool it was. But in addition to being seriously, and in addition to that, just naturally funny people. And you did see that when they were Demolition and stuff like that, because they'd always kind of throw those crazy lines in there and stuff. But just such nice guys, both of them, absolutely.
And when he was the match superstar, he got that over huge. And we're talking about great mass wrestlers of the years. Like we sample Rey Mysterio, and I mean it takes a lot of talent to wear a mask and to get over like you do. And Match Superstar was one of them back in the day. That no matter what side of fence he was on, whether he was cheered or booed, man, he got over like nobody's business.
That's what was really cool about him. I talk all the time about how Shawn Michaels had 2 Hall of Fame careers. He had the first set from when he was young, main evented, blah, 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 hurt his back, retired for 5 years. That stint alone qualified him to be a first ballot Hall of Famer. And then when he came back, he went from 2002 to 2010, another 8 years. Again, Hall of Fame credential work. 2 Hall of Fame careers for the same body. Bill Eadie was the same way. He was a Hall of Famer before he even became Demolition.
Yeah.
He was amazing. He really was one of my favorites. And
remember, he was one of the machines back in the day.
Yes. Giant Machine, and I forget what he was. But yeah, it was he was great. He really was. And I know a lot of wrestlers change gimmicks and stuff, or personas over the years and stuff, but Bill just like excelled at everything that he did. And I still say, Kathy, one of these days I'm gonna, because I'm on a DVD cover with him, Stro.
Nice.
Well, actually, I am because I did the show against them, you know.
Right.
Actually, in a commercial break for the people watching on video, after the commercial break, I'll pull it out during the break and try and find it to share with you guys, because it was really funny. It was just a really great time. I forget what I was saying, but I know. So one of my long-term goals is, before Demolition stops touring the indies and stops doing shows and all that and conventions, I want to get them to sign that DVD.
Yeah.
May 7th, ISPW.
I know, and it's my good friend Tommy. My good friend.
Yep. He's going to be.
Yeah.
That's going to be a great convention.
I might come out. I've never been to one of Tommy's conventions. We used to get along like cats and dogs, and I would say at some point during the course of VOC Nation, we kind of patched things up. I owe the guy a lot, because without him, there never would have been this podcast. He's the one that let me, you know, kind of break in on his old Who's Slamming Who network, you know, and at the time I always felt like, I was on that. There were a lot of us on there, actually. It was like Kevin Kelly was on there, and Steve Carino had a show, and Bull what's his name? You know who I mean, from NXT. James Smith. There's a bunch of them, but Jim Cornette was probably the most famous from there. Lanny Poffo and Bill Barons and who's the guy who passed away in Georgia? You should kill me for not remembering his name. Nick Anderson's dad. Not Nick Anderson. The referee.
Nick Patrick.
Nick Patrick's dad. Jody Hamilton, yes. These are the people that I learned podcasting from. I was on the network with them, you know, and I used to get mad because, like, I would interview Kurt Angle on my podcast, and it would get buried on the bottom of the page. You know, that was me in my 20s, obviously. I'm a lot different today. I've mellowed out a lot, and I understand that, like, in terms of, you know, who's done what in the wrestling business, like, I belonged on the next page down, you know? But it's been cool. So I should come check out Tommy's show. Let's go to the phone, and this might be a mistake. It usually is when I try, because she's usually thumping and bumping, as they say. But we'll try and go to Tora. What's going on, Tora?
Hey, what's up?
How you doing?
Hey.
Hey.
I'm doing great. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year. Happy New Year.
Merry
How was
New
your
Year.
holiday, hon? How was your holiday, hon?
It was great.
Okay. You hitting the eggnog?
Nah, I didn't have eggnog.
Okay.
It ran out.
They ran out. Okay. Okay. Well, we're sitting here tonight talking about some of our best wrestling memories from over the years. Did you have anything from your wide experience pool, Tora? Anything that happened to you that you can share with us?
Yeah, 2013, when I went to Monday Night Raw for the first time.
Okay.
And the Big Show came in, and he bought tickets, and he stepped on my foot and my hand.
He stepped on your foot?
It was about 455 pounds.
Oh, my
and
God.
I peed on myself.
And you peed on yourself. But that had nothing to do with him.
No, it had something to do with him.
Something to do with him? Okay.
It had something to do with him.
Now, why was he stepping on you?
He didn't know I was right there.
Oh, okay. I got you. That's pretty scary. Probably felt like you ran your foot over with a car.
Man, I'm telling you.
Stro,
it was crazy. It was so
Stro,
crazy.
did you have any run-ins with the Big Show?
Oh yeah.
He's a great guy.
actually. Yeah, I went to high five
Yeah.
him one time. He darn near took my hand off.
I believe it. I believe it.
I heard a story one time. I heard a funny story one time where he was in a lounge somewhere, and he got locked in a room by accident. And he's pretty claustrophobic, right? And the next thing, a door is flying across the room.
Oh my God.
He paid for the damages apparently, and he apologized, but he just got scared because he was in the room.
Wow. I wanted to ask you actually, and I'll get back to you in a second, Tor. If you remember, back in '96, in the spring of '96, when Big Show legit won his first title, not like when he pushed Hulk Hogan off the ledge, but when. You remember he did that angle with Ric Flair and Arn Anderson where they threw coffee in his face, like hot coffee, and his face was all burnt and he challenged him for the title and he won the title the next week on Nitro. Did they throw real hot coffee in his face? Because it always looks so painful to me. Do you know that?
Yeah, I don't know if they actually did or not, honestly.
Okay.
Because they, my goodness, they gave Sandman.
I just thought. Yeah.
Anything other than legit barbed wire, if you remember.
Yeah.
When he came in, right, and Sandman was complaining about it, and Bam Bam Bigelow was laughing and said, "Hey, bro, welcome to WCW."
yeah. They use the trick barbed wire, the stuff that's rubber.
Right.
But I always Kathy, do you know? I mean, because you're pretty friendly with Arn and Rick. Did they use real coffee in that? Because I always thought what a painful thing. But he showed it on his face. It looked like he had been burnt.
Well, you can always do stuff with makeup. You know that, Brady.
I guess you can just kind of squint and
Yeah, there's things you can do like the sandpaper with Steamboat when they rubbed his face, and Ricky Morton.
Yeah.
Same thing.
Rub their face with sandpaper?
Mm-hmm.
Oh, geez. That's why I'm not a wrestler. Tor, you ever have anybody throw coffee in your face?
No.
Probably iced coffee. All right, Tor. Anything else? You excited about Brock Lesnar as champion?
No, I'm not excited about that.
You're not excited. Okay. Why not? I'm not either. But I'm curious why you're not. You got really quiet. Are you away from your phone?
No.
Okay. Now you're better. So why don't you like Brock?
Because he's
I gotcha. All right, Tora. We're gonna go. Love you, Tora. All right. Bye-bye. Yeah. So anyway, 914-338-1885. Yeah, that was one that always bugged me because I was like, how could they throw coffee in his face? But it looks so convincing. Just call me Mark Hicks.
There was
I guess.
one time we went to a Philly show.
Yeah.
And one of the state senators in South Jersey, Fred Madden's a very good friend of mine.
Mm-hmm.
So I was taking him and his grandson to the show. And I called Jim Kelly, who's head of security, and I said, "Can you do me a favor? Can you, it's for the little guy, his grandson. Can you get us backstage?" He's like, "Sure." So I tell Fred what we're doing, and so we meet, and he's following us to this building, to the Wachovia, and we go in, and his grandson's like, he has no idea why we're going back, parking down in the back, and he's like, he gets out, we walk in, and it was a time in January. It was really, really super cold out. So we're walking in, first person we see is Ray. And gives me a hug, and he says, "I'll talk to you in a bit." We're standing there, we're talking, introducing everybody. And in comes Big Show. He just came off his bus.
Yeah.
And he goes,
and Dustin was with him.
Hold out there, he goes, "My thong just froze."
He's funny.
I'm standing there, and I went, Show, I'd like you to meet Senator Madden of state New Jersey. And he's like, oh, man, how's it going? The senator's a retired state trooper, so he's a pretty big guy. And his grandson is just sitting there like, oh, my God. And Show's like, did I embarrass you again? I said, all the time. All the time.
That's funny.
A funny story, Big Show, right? One time we were in the back, and he was eating a bowl of ice cream, right? And you saw one of the production ladies.
That sounds like such a Big Show thing to be doing in the back.
Right? So he sees this lady in production. He looks at me and says, watch this, man. So he runs over and just literally snatches her off her feet, right? With one hand, and he had the bowl of ice cream in the other hand, and he's like running off, and she's kicking, laughing, put me down, you know. It's terrible. Oh my God. What a sight.
That's funny. That's funny.
Like a big kid, you know.
Yeah, for sure. That's cool. Why don't we go ahead.
Remember when they used to do tapings down in Orlando?
Yes, sure do.
There was one time I was down there, and Shelly hadn't made it down yet. I flew in. Shelly was coming down. She told Stevie and Booker to keep an eye on me.
Okay.
Now, there was a big fight on TV that night. So a bunch of the guys were upstairs at the main thing of the hotel, and and downstairs. So I'm sitting up there in the top area, and I'm sitting with Kevin Sullivan, and we're watching the fight.
Right.
We're watching Booker and Stevie come in, look around, go down, look around, come up, look around. And finally Kevin goes, bro, what the hell are you doing? He said, we're looking for Kathy. And I went, why? Jerry said we had to keep an eye on you. He said, you tell Jerry she's with the devil. She's fine. And I'm like, okay.
Oh, God.
Oh, boy.
That's amazing. That's amazing. You know, I was thinking, and this is totally unrelated, but you were talking about earlier with the Sandman and the barbed wire and that stuff. And one time I had to give Sabu a ride from the show. It was an ECW reunion show. And it was actually a really cool show. And what was really cool about it was a joint show. And this was the last night that the ECW arena was supposed to be open back in 2010. They were going to convert it into a nightclub or a performance hall or something. And what ended up happening was the sale fell through, and the same old owner started running shows in it again, except it was revamped and made a lot nicer. But back in the day, they did a final show. It was a CZW and Dragon Gate USA, so it was Gabe Sapolsky. So they did a joint show, and it was like an ECW tribute show. And during the course of the night, actually for the main event, I'm very lucky, and I have this somewhere. I have to try and find it. I got to call the main event for, in theory, what would have been the last match in the ECW arena with Joey Styles.
Wow.
That was really cool. Up in the bird's nest, no less. So it was really cool. Oh, wow. But after the show, you know, we're hanging out. I'm with that guy Albert again, the guy from the Mask story, and Albert wants to get Sabu's picture and autograph. And I'm not really like a huge autograph guy. Like, I'll get a picture if somebody asks, but I don't usually ask people for a picture. Just something about it. I don't know. The whole thing seems weird to me. So I don't usually ask for pictures or autographs. But Albert, he wanted an autograph and a picture from Sabu. And Sabu said, you know, I'll do the picture and the autograph if you guys give me a ride back to the hotel, because my ride left. Pretty cool. Oh, yeah. Because he didn't know us from a hill of beans. So I'm driving Sabu back to the hotel. And at the time, Kathy, I had the sun visor in my old car. It wouldn't stay up. Like the plastic tab on it was broken, so it would always come down and like partially block, you know? Not a big deal normally. Most people just sit in there and just say how annoying it is and keep pushing it up. Well, Sabu gets in, and he bangs his head on it as he's getting in the car, Kathy.
Oh no.
So now he's gigging. Like, I mean, not gigging. I'm sorry. Now he's bleeding. See, I get all this terminology. Sabu was bleeding. Not bad, but he had cut himself during the course of the night in his match. So he had a little cut there, and he bumped it. So now he's got a little blood kind of coming down his face as he's sitting in my car. And to this day, well, the car is gone now. I had to retire it back in 2018 or 2017, whatever. But it always had a little, like, kind of blood spot on the seat between his legs that people just assume is like ketchup or something because you know, of me, you know. But no, it was Sabu's blood. And Sabu's blood was on that car, Kathy, until the day I got rid of it. Well, as I drive him to the hotel, he goes, watch this. This will be really funny. And he pulls like a handkerchief out of his pocket, Kathy, and when he gets out of the car and we walk into the lobby, he takes the handkerchief and he pushes it on the sore. So now he's got the blood streaming down his face as he's walking into the hotel lobby. And he goes in, and the guy at the desk is like panicking. He's like, what's going on? And Sabu's like, I've been hit. And he's got this blood. His face is a crimson mask. And he's tripping it on the floor as he goes. It was the funniest thing.
Oh my God.
It was so funny. Yeah. And then they sent him to the restroom to go wash up and give him a Band-Aid at the front desk. But it was just so funny. It was like, oh man. So anyway, 914-338-1885. We're talking our favorite wrestling memories between Papa Stro Maestro and Kathy Fitz, and believe it or not, even some from myself. And we'd love to hear from you guys as well. Like I said, 914-338-1885. We're going to take a real quick commercial break. Got to pay the bills and reorganize. But on the other side, hopefully we'll hear from some of you guys as well. And we'll talk to you real soon. As soon as I find this commercial break. Where is it? These things are like getting further and further buried. Here we go.
Hey, this is Total Package, Lex Luger.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, welcome back. It's In the Room on the VOC Nation Wrestling Network, on VOCNation.com, as well as on your favorite podcast platform. Just be sure to search for VOC Nation. We're on all the major platforms, so be sure to look for us there. And it is myself, Brady Hicks. I've got with me Kathy Fitz, and I've got the one and only Papa Stro Maestro as well. And we're running down some of our favorite memories from our time in wrestling. We're also taking your calls tonight, 914-338-1885. And we have a couple people on the line. Dustin, you're up first. Just hang tight 1 second. But before I get to you guys, Stro, what do we got going on this week, man? You're always so busy.
Seems that way, even during the holidays.
Especially.
Right. Oh, my Lord. Well, Thursday night, WCW Retro, first WCW Retro of 2022, this Thursday night, 9 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, on VOCNation.com. You know, we'll be talking some old school wrestling and just wrestling in general. So if guys want to call in, discuss the good old days, what's happening now, what you would like to happen in the future, feel free to call in. And Friday night, the feature for the Stro Zone at midnight Eastern Standard Time. On Facebook.com/Stro the Maestro will be the Wasp Woman. So please.
Oh, I dated her in college.
Oh, did you?
How's she doing? Yeah, I was a big fan of the Wasp Woman. You just want to stay in front of her. You don't want to try and take her from behind, Kathy.
Pretty much.
Oh,
and this
Brady.
Painful lesson.
This weekend, January 9th, I'll be have my first match of 2022. for Premier Wrestling League Mid-Atlantic at the Green Valley Skating Rink in Bluefield, West Virginia. Bell time is 5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And for more information on that event, actually, I'll be taking on Jeff Paul, another Paul in the news, right?
Yeah.
And
is that Jake Paul's brother?
He might be related to him somehow. I'm never
Okay.
really asked,
Okay.
but,
Well, we'll just say he is. It makes it sound better.
Yeah. And for more information, just go to Premier Wrestling League Mid-Atlantic on Facebook.
Very cool. Very cool. So, like I said, we're talking some of our favorite wrestling memories between the three of us, but we're actually going to add on a fourth co-host right now. We have Derek McDonald joining us from up in Long Island. What's going on, sir? How you doing tonight?
Hey, Derek.
Hola. Hey, how's everybody doing tonight?
We're doing good. We're doing really good. We got the callers lined up. Dustin, I promise you 1 second. Just hang tight. Tonight we're doing something different because I haven't finished the pay-per-view and I haven't watched Raw yet. But I kind of know what's going on, obviously, Derek. And with Brock Lesnar winning the title, the WWE title, which really, I should say, I'm a fan of it if they do it the right way. And the right way being a 3 pay-per-view match series between Lashley and Lesnar that culminates at WrestleMania. That's the only way to do this. If they're not going to do that, and I don't think they are, then what the hell are they thinking?
Well, apparently the plan is still Roman Brock at WrestleMania.
I hate it.
I'm okay with it because if you can put the belt on Lashley and make him a bigger monster, so then you have 2 big matches at Mania as opposed to 1. Now, who Lashley would face, that's the problem. I don't know. I guess you could have Big E win the Rumble and have him win his belt back at Mania. Damian Priest is a guy it seems like they love a lot. I guess you could put the title on you could have Damian Priest fight Bobby Lashley. I'd be interested in that.
Yeah.
But they're at a place now with I read somewhere that Drew McIntyre hurt his neck real bad and he might be gone. So you're gonna have to make somebody.
Yeah, Stroh was saying that. Yeah.
And
what?
I don't know who.
What if it's Goldberg?
No,
No.
Because he beat Lashley non-title.
I saw an interview with Goldberg where he said like his shoulder is like messed up. He has one match left.
He has 1 match left.
On his contract.
Yeah, that would be Lashley finally beating him and ending it.
I'm a fan of them like rebuilding. You you always hear money is in the chase. If you want to, because they mishandled Big E. I think he could have been booked way better than he was. So if you want to have Big E win the Royal Rumble and then kind of build him up the right way to a match with Lashley, that could work. But I mean, they don't have that many guys. Like I imagine Edge is either going to fight Kevin Owens or AJ Styles. Those are like the 2 most likely guys for him. So you have to do, like I said, the only other guy they're building up is Damian Priest.
Right.
So you're going to have to do something with somebody.
Can we just get rid of the brand split and actually use the roster better?
No,
I've been asking for it for years.
Guys.
But they only have 500,000 guys that matter.
But all right, so because when Brock won, people saying they should unify the titles, and I was like, okay, if you do that, Roman's going to win that belt. And he's going to be the guy on both shows. What do you do with anybody else? Because it seems like nobody's beating Roman anytime soon. So it's kind of like, at least with 2 belts, you can have Roman be the guy on one show, and you can have the other guy be the guy on another show, and that way you have 2 guys.
I hate the way it's set up.
I don't think Roman's losing until next year.
Well, there's nobody lined up for him to, the only guy who has, especially if Drew McIntyre's hurt, because that's what I would have done. I would have drug out a feud between Roman and Drew McIntyre from WrestleMania all the way through SummerSlam, maybe even Survivor Series. That's what I would have done.
Yeah.
Because I think there's a lot of legs with that. Or you have them go to WrestleMania, then you have them maybe wrestle like one more time at SummerSlam and say, if Drew doesn't win the title, he can't challenge for it, and have him come so close and have Roman cheat and win. And then you carry that out just like you did with Lex Luger until you get to the Rumble and you have Drew win the Rumble. And finally beat him at WrestleMania the following year. I would do that. But again, they don't have Drew.
Yeah,
I'm not a fan.
I don't know what they do.
Like I said, I
don't know what they do.
I would end the brand split, and I would just make a conscious effort to say, if you're on Raw this week, you're not on SmackDown this week. That's what I would do, and vice versa. I think that makes the most sense. Who's that?
Two guys they could have used right about now was Keith Lee and Bray Wyatt, and you got rid of both those guys.
Yep. Budgets.
They could have stepped in and been a stopgap for anybody leading up to Mania, or you could have plugged them in at Mania. But they got rid of them. So, although I have this sneaking suspicion, and I could be completely wrong, a part of me wonders if Bray is coming back because they're still selling his stuff, and he hasn't shown up anywhere.
I wondered about that. I did, because if he wanted to film a movie, I could see him saying, you know what, I'm fine with this release right now. You guys do your thing, I'll do mine, and I'll see you next year. I could see that. And that explains why he didn't go to AEW or Impact like everybody was saying.
Because Meltzer was saying when he spoke to AEW, they were far apart on money. And my little antenna went up and goes, okay. Now I wonder if he figured, like you said, Brady, I go film this movie, and, you know, you're still selling my merchandise, so you're still getting a nice fat merchandise check. And then, you know, when I'm done with the movie and I'm ready to come back, I can come back as something different. That's what would make the most sense for me. At this point in AEW, I don't know where he fits.
Right. Well, I tell you where he fits. He fits in one of the gangs. He'd probably be with like the. He'd be with the. I don't know. He's not with the dinosaurs because Christian's with the dinosaurs. I don't know. I think they would. He'd be with that. He'd be with that devil lady. I forget her name. The one Abaddon or whatever that crawls backwards. He'd be with her. That's who he'd be with. Yeah, and probably like they probably turn like Chuck Taylor heel just so that like they had somebody else to go with him. That would be his group.
It's funny you bring up. Was it Jim Cornette that was talking about Christian?
Yeah.
Jim Cornette or like Superman and Disco Inferno, and it was like, do you think Christian's happy that he signed with AEW now? He's buddies with a dinosaur. Like, bro, I was like, oh, poor Christian.
Let's go to actually, Dustin. Before I get to you, Kathy, I've been kind of like looking at the stories. We were talking some funny memories from the past and stuff. And I wanted to tell you guys about this time when I went to WSU. It was this women's promotion back in the day. Like Mercedes kind of cut her teeth in it, and Jessica Havoc. AJ Lee was there. That's where she kind of started and everything. And Marty Bell. It was a great roster. Ember Moon was there. And, you know, I mean, it was just great. But, like, I went one time and they were planning on doing this angle where do you guys know who Angel Orsini is? Or is that like
Yeah.
She was ECW, I think, back in the day. But she so like
is that okay.
Do you know who I mean? Like she was early ECW, I think.
Yes, like the almost like
Eastern.
Like Jimmy Snuka was doing, right? Like
yeah. Really tough lady. Sweetheart, but so tough. So they were going to do an angle where a PWI writer, she beat up a PWI writer because someone else won some award. They were going to present the award in the ring, and then she was going to come in and like beat up. So like, and take whatever her finisher was. I don't remember. And they had in mind for me to do this. And I'm not a great bumper. I really am a horrible bumper. And, you know, I said I don't mind doing it, but I am nervous to take, like, moves and stuff like that, you know? And they ended up going with somebody else. And Angel, the way she did the finisher, she broke his wrist. So I was really glad that I didn't do it at that point. But that same show, like we showed up with like a case of beer because we were talking with the promoter at the time, Sean the Mick, and so we come with this case of beer, and there were a bunch of us just hanging out in the back watching the show on the monitor and just drinking, right? And there were so many wrestlers from like Impact were there and stuff, just people visiting, and Kathy, I'm not kidding, like I'm taking a swig of this, whatever it was, Natty Light or Miller Light or whatever it was, whatever the beer was, and I hear behind me, yo, do you think I could get one of those? And I'm thinking, what? Yeah, I had no idea who it could be. No idea. It was ODB.
Yeah.
ODB rated our beer, and she offered me her flask. And let me just say, Stro, that is not a gimmick flask. It smelled like she was bleaching the kitchen. That's what it smelled like.
Oh, wow.
I did not take a sip, but it was absolutely amazing. Critiquing matches and drinking beer with ODB.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Bit of news for you guys. Ron Breaker is our new NXT champion as of tonight.
I'm not surprised. I'm not surprised.
Yeah, I watched the end of that. Tommaso is really good because he made him look like $1 million. And
sure.
He hasn't been wrestling a year yet, but Tommaso did an amazing job. And I know I saw some people going, oh, you know, they're going to cut Tommaso now. And I think Tommaso's a lifer. He seems like he loves the fair.
And he's happy to just be there, you know, and just, he don't even care about the money, you know, he wants the job. He's got a little kid. He's got his wife who's like, I mean, she's out of the business now, but she's been in and out of it. They're all friends because she was in developmental back in the day, you know. Everybody, yeah, that's his sweet spot. He'd be, I don't think he's ever leaving there. I don't. Let's go to the phone. And by the way, I will say that I think Tommaso was the perfect bridge to these newer talents, and I think it's only going to continue. What's going on, Dustin?
Yeah.
Nothing.
Well, cool. Thanks for calling, man.
All right.
So I saw you sold your WrestleMania tickets for $1,600. It's a shame because I was going to offer you $1,800.
Well, someone wanted them, so.
Who wanted them? Did you? Can you give me a name? I'll buy it off them if you name the name.
A friend of mine bought them because I wasn't going. So.
Okay. Well, now why are you not going? I know you sold your day one tickets too.
Well, you know, like I couldn't make that trip, so I had to sell them.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, from what I've seen, it's amazing.
Because there's a bunch of airlines and stuff because of COVID. There's some airlines and stuff that day was a bunch of flights are canceled.
I would have walked.
Now, where do you live?
I live in Orlando. My flight was canceled to Atlanta, so I couldn't go.
The Big O.
Now, I've done the Orlando to Atlanta drive before. It's bad, but it's not that bad.
What is it, like about 6 hours?
Give or take, yeah.
Okay. It's like Philly to Pittsburgh.
Get out of Atlanta early. Yeah, depends on what time of day you leave.
Okay.
Well, I just wasn't able to go, so I sold my tickets.
I got you. You know, and I don't know how excited you were to see Seth Rollins on the pay-per-view, but I was telling Kathy and Stro earlier. So my fiance and I, Dustin, because I'm getting married later this year. So we picked out our colors for the wedding, and they're going to be red and gold, like a fall kind of theme thing, right? So the first thing that popped into my mind, and I'm hoping you'll be able to help me out here. I want to wear a Seth Rollins inspired outfit when I get married. Like I'm thinking like red with like a gold vest and a gold bow tie. It'll be amazing. It'll tie all the colors together from the whole wedding party. Can you help me out with that?
maybe. But Derek,
Maybe.
I'm kind of upset to see Big E lose his title.
I'm okay with it because I finally get Brock and Lashley, and I've been waiting for that since forever. So and he'll be back. It's not the end of Big E. A lot of people, their first title reigns aren't the best.
Yeah, look at Kofi.
A lot of guys. So.
Well, he seemed upset on Raw about it.
Yeah.
Well, he needs a change in character, and that's what he needs. So he'll be all right. They obviously like him. So.
Could you see Big E turning bad and joining the Hurt Business?
I wouldn't mind that. I wouldn't mind it at all.
If he's going to join a group, that's
anything they need.
Yeah. We haven't seen him as a bad guy in a long time.
No, and when New Day were bad guys, they were like the funny bad guys.
Yeah.
Brady, what are they gonna do with Rollins now since he lost this match? I don't know what they're gonna do by Mania. There's nothing for really the Raw tag titles will be the only thing that would make sense.
Yeah, I mean, I could see them doing that, or he'll just have a high-profile match, maybe a dream match, maybe. I don't know, because
him and Kevin Owens would make a good team, I think.
Yeah, I mean, I could see that.
They're funny. They're funny together. I enjoy them.
Yeah, because I don't really see any matches out there for him. That's why I hate the brand split.
Seth versus Styles.
Maybe. Didn't we get that already?
I feel like we did, didn't we? Yeah.
Oh, like when Seth had the belt, they did it.
That's right.
But have Styles win this time?
I'd prefer AJ Edge because it's different and it's new.
Yeah. And that's what I heard. I heard that was the dream match that they... Yeah.
Oh,
what about? I know what, Dustin. I know what. What if Seth? Maybe, but I don't know. I don't want Seth challenging for the U.S. title or whatever. I don't know. I'm not a fan of that. But what if Seth Rollins took on the returning Jon Moxley at WrestleMania?
There's no way. He signed a long-term deal with AEW.
Did he?
Well,
are you sure about that?
His deal.
I heard somebody signed a long-term deal.
No, his deal is up because now is the time where all those people they signed originally, their contracts are starting to come up. That's why the Bucks had to resign. Cody, they're waiting for Cody and Omega to resign. I've always said, and I think you said it too, Brady. I think he's gonna go back. I do too. Wants to kind of up his stock and kind of show Vince hey, look, I'm a star.
Yeah,
I think he goes back. There's a lot of money in a Moxley Roman Reigns feud too. There's some good matches for him if he goes back to WWE.
Do you think?
Surprised,
Do you think there's a bigger chance that he goes back or Jericho goes back first?
Jericho has a lot of power, doesn't he?
Does he really though? I mean, I guess he does.
He wants people to believe he does.
Yeah.
Maybe Mox.
He's a junior executive.
First,
yeah.
Yeah. Moxley seems like he just needed to get away for a while.
I got a feeling like Jericho's starting to wind down, so I wouldn't be surprised if the next time we saw him in WWE was the Hall of Fame.
Yes.
I wouldn't be surprised at all. But Moxley, I think, could still have another 10-year run. Go ahead.
Brady, you looking forward to the Hangman Page versus the Bryan Danielson match tomorrow on AEW?
I am, but I just heard something that really is stupid to me, that they're going to have judges, including that dumb rapper.
Yeah.
Wait a minute. Oh, what a rapper. That's a long
one after the Acclaim.
The dumb one. Max Caster.
Oh.
Yeah, the Fly Fisherman. That guy.
Why? God damn it.
See, and I heard they're going for like Sting and Flair. I get that. You want judges. Even have a celebrity judge. Throw Shaq in there. But why would you throw in a comedy heel?
Is he gonna DDT Adam Page through the table? I mean, when it's all over, like Terry
Maybe.
to Ric Flair? Is that what he's gonna?
Imagine that.
Maybe Daniel Bryan's gonna join their gang.
I don't know. Why would you? I was so excited when you told me that, Brady.
Yeah, well, Stro just told me. It was like you put a pin in my balloon. It was like, you know, I was disappointed.
Oh my god.
Yeah. Who books that crap? Sorry, Dustin. You were saying? Yeah. Yeah. Right.
Well,
Show writes itself, literally. Good.
I've been trying to figure out like who's going to beat Britt Baker for the title.
Nobody. Like if I were them, that's the one smart thing I think they've done. I think keep her as the champion forever. Who's she going to lose to? Right. If there's nobody to beat her, then you don't have her get beat.
Well, Jade Cargill should be one that can beat her.
You know what they should do? Here's what they should do. So when Jade Cargill wins the TBS title, right? You know what they should do? They should have, and obviously they're moving to TBS now. So what they should do is they should have an old-fashioned title swap, where Britt Baker gets the TBS title, and Jade Cargill gets the women's title. Yeah. No, I was thinking the TNT was the other women's title. I'm all messed up, Dustin. I was thinking we need to. Yeah. That's what they should do there. They should have a separate women's title for each network. So, which I guess they do. They're just going to have them defend them wherever.
Brady, were you shocked on Christmas night that Cody Rhodes beat Sammy Guevara?
No, I wasn't surprised to see Sammy Guevara lose. And I like how you say my name too, Brady. Like Birdie, like I'm real purdy, like that, like a real purdy mouth, you know. No, I wasn't surprised. I wanted Sammy Guevara, but you know what? I think Sammy Guevara is one of those guys who, unless like he said more messed up stuff that we don't know about, he probably is going to be a guy that I would think will be main eventing in a year or so. I would think.
Mm-hmm.
They always talk about their big four, and I think those big four are who are going to carry them when all these WWE stars kind of peter out. Now, I do feel bad for, like, really, like, the original 20, because, like, 16 of them are being ignored, and there's only a big four. I do feel really bad for those guys. But what can you do?
There was a time last year where I thought Scorpio Sky could have been a world champion in that company. And they did nothing with him.
Yep.
Nothing.
Yep, and Jericho tried. It wasn't for not trying.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, I do too. Kathy, any more fun stories?
Oh, wow.
I got my list here. I could go all night.
One night after a WCW show, we're in the bar at the Marriott.
Yeah.
And a member goes to the bar to get a drink. And Tully's standing there. And I really didn't know Tully that well then. And he says, "Oh, what are you drinking?" I said, "Long Island iced tea."
Yeah.
Our day good, Derek.
Yeah.
And he goes, "Wow." He goes, "I'll knock you on your butt." I said, "No." Well, I went to college. If you didn't drink, you didn't stay.
Yeah.
I used to go to college. I go Penn State. And he yells, "Yo, Luger, Penn State." Luger looks over and goes, "Kate?" And I went, one person has ever called me Kate. I looked at him, I went, "Larry?" He was Lex, when Lex played Canadian football.
Yeah.
He was my ex-boyfriend's roommate. And we're sitting there joking around and everything. And
Okay.
we're reminiscing. He's like, oh, how's Tone? Da, da, da. And from then on, we were best buds again.
That's pretty cool. That's pretty cool. I like the
Now,
college
you want me to tell
tie-in
a
there,
story
too.
about
Go
you want me to tell you a story about what I told you guys off there about at the hotel at ECW?
Yeah. Yeah.
Derek, you're like this.
This is good.
You know, I work in a doctor's office. Well, we had patients who would come in, and at that point, he would dress as a female.
Okay.
So in the afternoon, we're all sitting in the lobby, and he walks in. He's like, hi. I'm like, oh, my God, how you doing? He's like, oh, fine. He goes on his way. Well, later on, he came back dressed as female. Very attractive.
Right.
And all the guys are like, wow, check her. I'm like, no, don't do it. And the guys are like, what do you mean? I'm like, don't do it. No. And it's me, Jack, it's Curtis Hughes, it's Mustafa, all these guys are checking her out, and I'm like, no.
That's funny.
No. So finally, I dragged New Jack away. I went, it's a guy! He's like, what?
That's awesome.
Oh, good. Yeah.
I mean, you know what? There's been so many crazy stories when I worked in ECW, the rides and everything. The WCW stories, like, you know, down in Florida. You know, it was just fun times.
That is cool.
Even nowadays, it's still fun. But it's, you know, you have to realize they're all human. They put their pants on the same way everyone else does.
Yeah.
But, you know, when you get
except for the person that you were talking about, because they didn't have pants on. But yeah.
Exactly. When you get a chance, now when you become friends with somebody, you know, you just make. I mean, Sherry, I never thought in the wildest years Sherry and I would become as good as friends as we did.
That's cool.
Never. You know,
that's really cool. Yeah.
And Liz and Brandy and, you know.
This is very cool.
You know,
that's very cool.
It was fun. Fun times.
Yeah. Really brings back the memories, some of this stuff, for sure. I was actually thinking too, because and this is like a really weird thing for me, because like I grew up like about 20 minutes from the ECW arena, but I never went to an ECW show at the ECW arena. I go into ECW shows when they came up to Ben Salem, where I grew up, like, but I've never been to an ECW, and I've been to arena shows, but not for ECW. But there was a reunion show the one time. It was, you know, what was it, like 2004 or 5 or 6? It was like when all the reunion shows were the big deal with ECW, you know, when every company was doing them and everything. And it was for Francine, and I was doing an article because she had, I guess, a couple family members that had cancer, so they were doing like an ECW tribute show at the arena, and the proceeds were going to fight whatever cancer it was. I don't remember. I wrote an article about it and everything.
Breast cancer.
Yeah. Okay. And so I got there early. You know, I was helping Francine out with some different stuff. I was helping set up. I was, you know, I just wanted to like just be a part of it, because that was really my first real ECW experience. You know, I had never had the opportunity other than being a fan at the shows and talking to them after the show. So I step into the back, Kathy. I'm loading stuff up, and I see the Sandman pick up a stick off the ground, like a broom handle or something, and he's swinging it, pretending it's a kendo stick. And there's some other people there. I think Just Incredible was there, and there were some other people. And now Just Incredible picks up the stick, and they're doing like the laser, like the lightsaber duel thing with the two of them. And I'm sitting on the loading dock just watching this, just taking it in. And it was amazing, I got to say. I have pictures of it somewhere. And, Francine comes out, hands me something else to do. I run inside, and I start doing it. And I come back out. And, Derek, I'm not lying. There were people, I guess because the way the ECW arena was, right? So, like, you have the arena in the front on the corner of the two streets. And the parking lot is behind the arena, directly behind it. So the fans were walking up the side street, passing and seeing Sandman and Just Incredible doing their lightsaber duel with the broom handles and just goofing around. So now the fans are coming around. They're all circled around them. And there were kids from the neighborhood, and they came. And when I stepped outside, Derek, they're all playing stickball. Sandman and Justin Incredible each had a team of kids, and they were playing stickball. It was in the parking lot. It was an amazing thing. They were playing with like a tennis ball, and it was funny. It was pretty cool.
That's amazing.
I do have a picture of that somewhere. I'll have to try and find it. How about you, Stro? Any cool memories?
So many. Oh my God.
Yeah, I know you got so many. Like.
Oh gosh. I remember one time I'm eating dinner with Dusty Rhodes and Lex Luger and a few other boys, and Dusty kept putting his cheesecake on me, right? And and I was I thought it was nice of him to do that. I was just so full from dinner, right?
Yeah.
And so I looked over to Lex and said, "Hey, Lex, you want to try this?" And Lex looks at me and says, "Are you kidding?" I said, I looked back and said, "Look, you big goof. The dream gave me this cheesecake. You want to turn out a dream?" And he looks at Dusty, he looks at me, and he commenced to eating the cheesecake, right? Which kind of reminded me of the story of Mick Foley told with him and the Ultimate Warrior at the cookie shop, the cookie store.
Oh, I never heard that.
Where Ultimate Warrior gets this bag of cookies, right? But he don't eat them, right? He just opens the bag, sniffs them, takes it in, the scent, and then just walks away, leaves the cookies on the counter, right?
Yeah.
So Mick sees the bag of cookies sitting there, so he just grabs the cookies and starts eating the cookies.
That's why the Warrior looked the way he did, I guess.
Yeah.
Well, one of the reasons. Yeah, for sure. That's funny. That's really funny. Derek, we were talking earlier about, I don't know if you remember, but this was something that always kind of got me as a fan. If you remember, like in '96, when the Big Show first won the WCW title, and I don't mean when he pushed like Hogan off the roof. I mean like when he beat Flair on Nitro. If you remember, they did a whole angle where Arn and Ric Flair threw hot coffee in the Big Show's face, and it looked so painful to me because like his eyes were like swelling shut, and his face was all like red and pink, and he was and I just thought like, I can't imagine that they're throwing hot coffee in his face, but at the same time, it just looks so real. And I asked Stro and Kathy, and Stro said they could gimmick that, but it looked painful. What did you say they could use, Stro, instead of coffee? Oh, sandpaper. Sandpaper.
What they in his Steamboat come out record said they used that when he had the dangle with Flair years ago, and they did. I think that they did it with Piper and Ricky Morton. And
wow. Wow. Do you remember that though, Derek? Like that was crazy.
Yes, I remember it vividly because I was like a kid, and it's amazing the brain can remember. I remember the promo he cut and he's like yelling and screaming, and
Right.
the only thing that was audible, and he goes, the coffee, it burned. And I remember being a kid, and that was such a funny thing to be like, duh, like, but it was cold.
It looked really painful. Like it looked like
Yeah.
because his eyes were like so small. It was insane. Insane. He had beadier eyes than Rat Boy. What's going on, Rat Boy?
What's going on? You're talking about memories?
We're talking about Rat Boy's a good one with this. He's met everybody.
Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, you know my memory that I got to my heart. Okay, is the one that when Superfly Snooker took that cake and put it in my dang face.
He did. They had a birthday bash for Superfly, and they had Rat Boy, I guess, bring the cake into the ring, and then they smashed it in his face.
No, I sung happy birthday to him, and he said, "That's a terrible storm, brother," and he just put the cake in my face.
Now, the one I was remembering, Rat Boy, we're going to a convention, and China was going to be there. I remember this clear as day, and Rat Boy says to me, I'm going to propose to China today. I'm like, what do you mean you're going to propose to China? I'm going to ask her to marry me. And I said, are you sure that's a good idea? Like, do you really want to do that? And he's like, yeah, just like that. Yeah. So he did it. I know. So he went up to her, and he got down on one knee, and he pulled out a ring box. I didn't even expect he had a ring box, Stro, but he pulled out a ring box, and there was a little paper ring inside. It was a little handmade paper ring, and he proposed to her.
Wow.
That was funny. She said yes, didn't she?
Did she say yes? Really?
She said yes, yeah.
Yes, she
wow.
did.
Yeah, I don't think she was totally with it at that point.
And
so.
another thing.
Oh, Brady.
Hey, Brady, how about
I only said it because it's Rat Boy.
In Atlanta? How about the story in Atlanta about me and Bruce's pickup truck in the back? Going,
that was funny. That was a good one. So we're in Atlanta for that, and it's the same NWA Legends, the one where we're running around in our masks, and we took a ride to it was a couple of us went. It was Bruce Wirt's truck, like he had like a pickup truck, and I know Rat Boy went, obviously. I don't remember who besides the three of us were there, but we took a ride to Abdullah's. Abdullah the Butcher had a ribs. House of Ribs.
Yeah. Man,
You gotta go there. Yeah. So we went and visited with Abdullah. Okay, so all five of us were there then. So all five of us were there. We go to this. We go to Abdullah's House of Ribs, and I have dinner with Abdullah. He's amazing. I talked to him. I got his contact information, and I bought a DVD from him. He did a shoot interview with Brian Alvarez, which is amazing. And
Ivan Koloff was in there too. Ivan Koloff was in there.
He was. Yes,
restaurant.
Ivan Koloff was there too. Yep.
Wow.
He was. Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And I got his contact too. He was. Yeah, he was cool. And we're getting ready to go back, and there was somebody else from the convention, I guess, that Bruce knew. It was two guys, and they asked Bruce if they could get a ride back with him. Now the problem is that we're already five of us in this pickup truck. So he took Rat Boy and he told him to sit in the back of the pickup truck in the bed in the back. He had, but this isn't like riding around in like Kentucky or West Virginia or something on dirt roads. No, we're driving on like the freeway in Atlanta with Rat Boy sitting in the back of the pickup, and we kept telling him to lay down, and he kept like standing up. We had the cop following us at one point. I thought for sure that like he saw Rat Boy in the back and was going to pull us over, but yeah, no, it was like transporting livestock. Like you couldn't get him to stay down.
I tell you what, that cop was laughing though. They were all laughing. Everybody was looking at the truck. They were all laughing at me.
What's not to laugh at,
I was a crazy maniac on you.
Yeah.
was a crazy maniac on loose. I'm on the loose of everything.
I also
when I was at that convention,
yeah.
There was Tony Atlas. He was there.
Yeah, I remember.
And he was talking about this guy got smashed. I supervised Schmigger's Bass with a kick in his face, right? I walked up to him and said, "Oh, there he is. He's here." He said, "I can get down here."
He just said I walked.
Oh man, they're great memories, though.
It was. I remember he got in Luke Gallows' face.
Yeah.
Rat Boy did. Luke Gallows was there for 3 days. He did.
Yep.
He did 3 different signings. He did one as Festus. He did one as the fake Kane, and then he did one as like the Straight Edge Society Luke Gallows. You know.
Nice.
It was pretty good. And Rat Boy got in his face.
Did he?
I got in his face, and I got him on the radio show.
He did.
On VOC Nation.
Yep, he did. He also creeped out SoCal Val, or as he calls her, Social Val.
Social Val.
Which is actually a much better name.
That's my sweetheart.
But I remember, like, he's like, because she left to go do she was doing like a custom bikini shoot or something, and Rat Boy was following her all around the hotel everywhere she went. I'm shocked he didn't make it in some of the pictures.
Oh, that's a shame because me and her had cheesecake after that.
Yeah.
Oh.
At my hotel. At my hotel where I was staying at.
Here's another one, and I probably shouldn't even mention it, but like because nothing happened. Let me just say, I just want to clarify, nothing did happen. But I remember at that convention, Rat Boy, that Bruce Wirt spent an awful long time with Wendy Barlow, Fifi, Ric Flair's wife now. You remember that? Like they were like in the hot tub together for like 6 hours.
Oh wow!
Yeah. I don't think anything happened. Like I said, I really thought for sure that they were going to get together.
Ric Flair's gonna kick your ass.
Well, this was before Ric Flair, yeah. Or it was in between Ric Flair.
Howard Finkel's girlfriend was trying to hit up on me.
Yeah. And then Howard Finkel got mad because she carried you around on her back.
As he should.
Yeah. Why not? There was another time we're at the convention just doing a live remote for VOC Nation, and Namar used to do all these impressions. You know, he did a really great, he did Sergeant Slaughter, he did Hulk Hogan, and he did Bruno Sammartino. And when he did these impressions, like you were just so sure it was them. So like we had a live mic at this convention, Stro, and Namar is doing his impressions or whatever, and he starts talking like Bruno Sammartino. And Ted DiBiase, who I didn't even know was at the convention, came running over to see Bruno because he thought Bruno was there.
Yeah, I remember that.
And Namar's in like some story talking about like how a lot of people don't realize it, but like that Bruno actually invented the handshake because like he was in like Italy as a child and blah blah blah. It was just like he's just making up all the stuff like Bruno, like not that Bruno made it up, but he was just like, you know, he was taking credit for all these things that he invented. And Ted DiBiase came running over. Yeah, he was actually annoyed that it wasn't actually Bruno.
As he should.
As he should. It was a very good impression, though. If we could ever get, I would love to get Namar on here.
Say.
Yeah.
There's a couple things I gotta say. Okay.
Okay.
Rest in peace, Betty White. She deserves to go in a Hall of Fame. Betty White.
Why?
Yes, she does.
Didn't she show up one time and that was it?
Yeah, then she had the hand from.
Well, that's Mae Young.
Yeah, that's Mae Young.
Mae Young, yeah.
That was Mae Young. Yeah, you're confusing Mae Young.
Oh.
It's okay.
No, mind, but
I mean, I remember she did like a guest host. Yeah, she was a guest host. But
yes.
For me, like for my money, and maybe I'm wrong here, but I always felt like Bob Barker was much more memorable in that spot. when he had the fight with Chris Jericho. It was amazing.
Oh yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
And he told him, "Don't make me put you on. Don't make me put you on my knee, young boy."
Plus, we lost somebody around here, Brady. I don't think you mentioned it last week. Jimmy Ray.
Oh, Jimmy. Yeah, we talked about Jimmy Rave. We talked about Jimmy Rave a lot. And my heart goes out to him. Yeah, he was actually going to come back on the show, and obviously it didn't work out. But you know, he had asked Kathy about coming on, you know, just to talk about everything, and yeah. Then he got sicker. It's sad.
I got something for the show. Okay.
Real quick, Rat Boy. So, like, I was watching Impact this
90
week.
seconds.
I was watching Impact this week, and, like, they after Impact is over, they always cut to, like, a classic match. And last week's classic match was the Rock and Rave Infection. My DVR cut off before I could see who they were fighting.
Oh, wow.
But it was really cool to see them because, like, first of all, like, you know, Lance Archer or Vance Archer or whatever, like, he is so much different than he was back then. And Jimmy Rave, too, you know, like, he was just like, Jimmy Rave looked like he was about 19 years old. And I didn't remember him being that young.
Yeah.
Rock and Rave Infection. Yeah.
So I got one question for the show real quick, okay?
Sure. Go ahead, Rat Boy.
I start watching this movie, okay? And it's called the Rat Pack. Man, did you have fun doing that movie with all those kids?
Oh, they were great, yeah.
With all the kids.
Yeah, and sure, time flies. A lot of those kids are like much older now. So yeah, it was a good time.
I just saw the movie over the weekend. I said, "Oh wow, there's shows in this."
Yeah, that was a lot of fun.
10 seconds.
I said, "Wow, I gotta watch this one."
Yeah.
It was very similar to the Home Alone movies in a way. I thought.
Yeah, it was.
You know,
Thomas Howell was in it, actually.
I hope everybody had a singing, looking good New Year's, like I did. I stayed in, not getting drunk.
Well, it's over.
Yeah, I stayed in too, and I didn't get drunk. I only got drunk for the drunk episode, and that was it. So, which was a lot of fun, by the way. You know, you talk about kids getting older, and I saw a really funny meme this week. It had Brock Lesnar, you know, with his hipster ponytail, and it had do you guys remember Home Improvement? It had
yes.
The oldest son, I don't remember what his real name was, but he was like Brad on the show. And he had the same haircut as Brock Lesnar toward the end of the run with like the shaved sides and the ponytail. And it said, a lot of you remember Brad Taylor, but this is what he looks like now. And it was just a picture of Brock Lesnar. And I just thought I must have sat and laughed at that for 10 minutes. It's such dumb humor. But yeah.
I will say this: it's awesome to see Brock like just smiling and having fun. It looks like he's just happy for a change. He's happy to be there. He's always smiling on TV.
I think he likes it. Like, I think he legit likes being a good guy. He hasn't been having this much fun since the Boombox Brock.
Yeah.
You know, I was just reading an article, or it was an article about an interview. R-Truth did an interview where he was talking about how it was one big... You remember when he was doing the stuff with Brock? And, like, he came out and, like, Vince told him, you know, I'm not going to script what you say, you know, but the point is you're going to be in the Royal Rumble, and I want you to make Brock laugh. And they're all taking bets on if he can get Brock Lesnar to laugh. Because apparently he pops everybody there. So R-Truth goes out, and he's like, you know, I'm going to be in the Royal Rumble. And then, like, Paul Heyman says, maybe you don't understand, like, Brock Lesnar is going to be in the Royal Rumble. And R-Truth's like, oh, crap. I take it back. I thought you were going to be in the Rumble, Paul. It was really funny.
Well,
yeah.
I can see this coming now at WrestleMania. Champion versus champion.
Oh, I would love that.
Brock Lesnar against Roman Reigns. And there's going to be one belt.
Yeah.
So
I can see it.
So what do they? So it looks like because Mania is going to be 2 nights from now on. So what do you main event the second night of Mania with? You need 2 belts for both nights.
You got the man taking on Charlotte.
Oh my God! By the way, I was done with Becky Lynch 3 years ago. I'm really done with her now. It's like, all right, let's.
You know,
can we
yeah,
be done with this thing?
she did that New Year's episode of SmackDown. Like it was just like looking back on the year, and I usually like Becky Lynch. I think that she's really funny, and like I don't know, I just enjoy her. I think like because she's such a hard worker, it's really nice to see that like she got to that level where usually, especially as a woman, you don't usually get that far. And that's what I think really appeals about her to me. But I was watching that show, and between Michael Cole, Becky Lynch, and Pat McAfee, I thought, my God, I don't know who the most likable person in that group would be. Because all 3 are so annoying.
She is, and it's weird.
It's like Eardrop. She's annoying.
It's weird. I was listening to Meltzer.
Eardrop.
And he was like Eardrop. He was like, they're going to have a hard time with the women's Royal Rumble this year because they don't have enough women.
Right.
They cut a lot of women. So he doesn't know what they're going to do for the women's Rumble this year. So
I'll bet you Alexa Bliss comes back
a lot
for
of
it.
women. Yeah.
Which I'm thrilled about, by the way, because I thought for sure I thought for sure that Alexa Bliss would be one of the next ones cut. She might still be. She might do the Royal Rumble and then get cut. The way things are going.
Yeah, that's weird. I was about to say, you wake up and they're cutting people all of a sudden, yeah.
People who were in major angles, like, just days earlier. It's so weird. Like, I was like... Like, on the New Year...
Obviously, it was...
Go ahead, sorry.
Go ahead.
I was just going to say, like...
Go ahead,
I'll stop.
Brady. I'm going to shut up. No,
we both have good ideas. No, I was going to say, from the New Year's Eve special, they're trying to talk about why Brock has been such a great champion for a year and a half, and they're trying to do it without talking about Bray Wyatt or Braun Strowman or Daniel Bryan or like pretty much anybody that's fought Roman Reigns for the last year and a half is gone, with the exception of his cousin and Edge.
It's they need. I understand they want to get rid of dead weight because even though with all the people they got rid of, they still have a lot of talent. But they have to be better about who they get rid of. And I saw something where they said, Vince says he thinks AEW has kind of reached this peak. There's nobody that can go there who can like make them a real threat to him, so he doesn't mind cutting people. Because the only people who could leave, he takes care of, like the Romans and the Edges and the Ortons and guys like that. So he's just releasing people, to get rid of them. So I guess I understand it. I mean, I think Punk doesn't turn him into a powerhouse. Then who will, right? He's supposed to be the guy.
Yeah, and at this point, I would say Hangman Adam Page is much bigger than CM Punk.
Yes.
I think. And I think Vince realizes, too, that, like, he no longer, not only does he not have to have people under contract, but he no longer has to overpay for people. Because he realizes that they've gotten to a point now with CM Punk and some of these other guys where they're just not offering competitive payouts. So the only people that AEW is going to be adding moving forward are going to be the starving artist types who just and Booker T was talking about this too, like the people who would turn down a multi-million-dollar contract because they want to have a match with somebody specific.
Yeah.
Which is insane and like unheard of until like this past year that anybody would do that.
Yeah.
But Anybody that AEW signs is not going to be. It has to be somebody who's not worried about money at this point.
Yeah, it has to be.
Tony Storm.
And like I know a guy, he's like a diehard AEW fan. You know, they can do no wrong. And he was like, well, a lot of guys are going there because they want creative freedom. I go, look, that's cool, but it's a business. And if you think Ricochet is happy being Ricochet, getting paid WWE money, instead of going to AEW, probably making a quarter of what he's making now and having great matches, you're crazy. That's why in the day and age of guys asking to get their release, a guy like Ricochet hasn't asked to be released yet because it's a business. You make as much money as you can, and then you get out.
Yeah. I remember back in the day, like when I was kind of starting out with like PWI and everything, having this talk with like independent wrestlers, like the fans perceive that the wrestlers care a whole lot more about their creative than they actually do, by and large. Some do, and obviously you want to be utilized right. But like, there were people who said like, oh, I don't want to end up like Santino Marella. That's what the fans perceive. You know, this wrestler doesn't want to sign with WWE and end up like Santino Marella. And this independent wrestler was like, why? Because like I don't want to make like 7 figures. Why? Because like what? Why would I? You know, if you pay me that amount, I don't mind being a comedy guy who never wins. I don't care. Mm-hmm. And almost anybody would approach it like that. Who wouldn't take a job for a lot of money where they don't have to do as much and don't have to get beat up without, you know, you got to pay the same health insurance.
Like, exactly. You don't think there's guys who would love to be R-Truth? He doesn't even wrestle every week.
No. In fact, I would say he rarely wrestles.
Yeah, and Vince loves him. He probably has a job for life if he wants it. Like,
yeah.
At the end of the day, it's a business. And I remember Scott Hall has the famous quote, I don't need, I already got enough friends. But I need money. You know, he's looking at a lot of things,
I already got friends.
You know, right? Yeah. And you know, when Lashley pinned Kevin Owens, they were like, oh, see, I bet you he wishes he's with his buddy. No, his family's going to be financially secure for the rest of his life after this contract.
Yeah.
He's all right.
He is all right. Rat Boy, you got anything else, pal?
Yes, I do.
Oh,
it's
good.
very important. I just want to say, let's go Eagles. Let's beat Dallas so we get in a playoff spot, and we're in it already, but we're going to go to the Super Bowl this year. I can't wait.
You know what, Rat Boy? I'm glad you brought that up. I'm glad you brought that up. The Philadelphia Eagle fans, and I know you're going to go, oh, Derek, you're a bit of Giants fans. But
thanks for the call, Rat Boy.
I want to speak to all you Eagles fans. All you son of a bitch Eagle fans who bashed poor Jalen Hurts when he got there. You bashed the poor kid. And you called him all types of names, and you said he was terrible, and is he the best? No. But he has that sorry team on the brink of the playoffs. You all owe that kid an apology. He's doing, you know what? He might not be the best, but he goes out there, he competes, and that's all you can ask for a young guy. I mean, look at Baker Mayfield.
He does. He showed me a lot this year. He does. And by the way, they clinched the playoff. Like, they're in, so there's a...
Yeah, they're in, right? Yeah.
They're in, which is a good thing because half the team has COVID now. So, in fact, I would seriously wonder if they'll even be able to field that game between healthy scratches and COVID people. I don't know. Yeah, we'll see. I know they got to play it, so they'll figure something out. But pretty much everybody. They don't even have a running back right now on the roster, which is insane because the two that were playing... Well, I guess they have Gainwell. But the other two got COVID, and Miles Sanders is out for the year. So I don't know. Jalen Hurts, he showed me a lot this year. He did. I don't think he's the best, but I'm willing to say, you know what? This is only his second year, and he only got to play a quarter of his first year. Honestly, and people will probably kill me for it and say that I'm crazy. I think he's a slightly less mobile, but a slightly more accurate version of Donovan McNabb. That's what I think he is.
You know what? I could see it. Yeah.
And in fact,
when he's on.
Yeah.
What is he, like 22 years old? He's still like a puppy, isn't he?
Yeah, he's young. He's young. I don't even know if he's 23. I guess he's 23 now, but recently 23, like maybe like November. Yeah, he's real young. And I know McNabb has been mentoring him. Which like I had already kind of thought that before I heard that, but just looking at the style of play and everything, like that's what he reminds me of. And McNabb gave the Eagles a lot of good years. Anybody that trashes him, I think, really needs to think twice about that, because there was no Super Bowl without McNabb. So, anyway, yeah. I like that. I don't know. Maybe I'm just mellowing out as I get older, but I other than the Cowboys, I don't really hate anybody anymore. You know, I just kind of watch. Yeah, I just like football. And I don't like Ben Roethlisberger, but that's, you know, whatever.
Oh, on the night the guy walks off the field.
Yeah, he walked off the field with a tear in his eye. With a tear in my eye.
With a tear in my eye.
Yeah.
But
no,
I don't even know if I hate the Cowboys as much as I hate Jerry Jones, but they're one and the same. So yeah.
And the fans, like I don't listen. I think Dak Prescott. I don't like him because he's a Cowboy, but other than that, like I think if he were on my team or on another team, I'd be fine with him. I don't really have a problem with him. Ezekiel Elliott, I think he's a little weird, and I think he's arrogant, but I don't really care. I mean, most NFL players are arrogant, you know.
The fans are the worst.
The other one, and this is a new one for me. Like I don't like the Bucks, you know, and I'm hoping that this is the year when the NFL figures out that they're paying players under the table just so that they can stock their roster. That's got to be how they're cheating now. You know they're cheating. It's just a matter of how's he doing it.
Yeah, it seems like everybody wants to go there. Something's going on.
Well, I saw like an article, and it was like, you know, it was Antonio Brown and his meltdown from the perspective of Le'Veon Bell, who was his teammate again. I didn't even know he signed with the Buccaneers. Like, wasn't he on Kansas City? Like, that's the last I heard.
Yeah. Yeah, me too. They won the Super Bowl.
Yeah, no. No, he's Le'Veon Bell's partner. He's his teammate again for like 5 games this year. Just funny. So, yeah, but I hate the Cowboys, and I think that they're just good enough that like they pose a real threat. Like if Green Bay goes down early, I think this could be the year that Dallas makes it back. And I hate to say that.
Oh, I can't take it.
I just think there are so many flawed teams, you know. And like if Dallas had beaten Arizona last week, I would say like, yeah, maybe Arizona will get them back next time, but yeah. Those things don't usually happen back to back like that.
And it's weird because you'll wake up one day for the playoff game and then the whole starting lineup will have COVID and it'll be a bunch of replacement players like
I know.
So you never know. It's weird. Hey,
yeah, I didn't even think about that. You know, that could actually. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know. It's crazy, but it'll be interesting to see. And
yeah.
Oh, Stro, you look like you're ready to pass out. I'm about done.
I'm good.
Derek, did you have anything you wanted to plug for this week?
I do.
Nice.
Tomorrow night at 8 o'clock, I will be on Hell in a Cell Talk Radio.
Oh, damn you! Why don't they ever ask me? I did so much for them.
You know what it is, though?
Because Dan doesn't like me. I was a Dean Dixon guy.
You know what it is? Dan's my guy. If I call Dan and it's like a topic I want to discuss, he's like, "Come on, Derek." So tomorrow we're going to talk about the Tony Khan Big Swole controversy that took over the internet a couple of days ago, and we just talked to Brady how weird it is to have the head of a company reacting to comments on Twitter. Like you would never see Vince McMahon doing that. So
even Dixie Carter wasn't this bad.
Yeah, it's I see how this movie ends.
Yeah, exactly.
We're going to talk about that tomorrow.
This movie better not end with Tony Khan as a character on Raw.
Oh, can you imagine? Oh, he comes out and he hugs Triple H. Oh.
Unless Vince stages like a human centipede with like Paul and Eric Bischoff and Tony and Dixie or something, you know.
And it's weird because I read.
It's like kiss my ass.
The report came out. The report came out that they lost $8 million last year. Like they operated in the red last year.
Right.
And I'm like, oh no.
Yeah.
Keep bringing these guys in now. Yeah.
Right. And you're winning the ratings in the key demographic.
Yes.
But no.
Yeah.
Yeah. Oh boy. Well, Strowman, what? I'm tired, you can tell. What do you got going on this week, sir?
Was Thursday night WCW Retro, 9 p.m.
Sorry
Standard Time on VOCNation.com. Will be the first WCW Retro 2022. So if you want to talk wrestling, please call in. It should be a lot of fun. And Friday night on my horror sci-fi show, The Stro Zone, at midnight Eastern Standard Time at Facebook.com/Stro the Maestro. The feature this Friday night will be the Wasp Woman, back in the day. And then this weekend, January 9th, I will have my first wrestling match in 2022 premiering for Premier Wrestling League Mid-Atlantic, making my return to West Virginia in Bluefield, West Virginia at Greenville Valley Skating Rink, 5 p.m. bail time. And for more information, go to facebook.com/Premier Wrestling League Mid-Atlantic.
All right, very cool. And from my end, ECWA is coming back. Going to have some tapings in January and February. And then March will be the ECWA Super 8. Going to have more information on that in the coming weeks for sure, as we try and get some of the competitors on the podcast. And thank you, everybody, for tuning into In the Room this week. Thank you to all the callers. Thank you to the best crew I could ever ask for. And be sure to support the VOC Nation however you can. You know, be sure to check out all the great content that's available on VOCNation.com. Check us out on the different podcast feeds. You know, whether it's Odyssey or iHeartRadio or iTunes or Stitcher or Google Music, whatever the case may be, you know, we're on all of them. So be sure to check us out and subscribe. Give us a like. Give us a review, you know, and all that great stuff as well. It helps us to grow. Don't forget the T-shirt shop, ProWrestlingTees.com/VOC Nation, and of course Patreon as well, with content starting as low as $2.99 a month. That is going to do it for this week. Thank you for sharing the memories with us, and we'll do that again, Stro. That was a lot of fun talking about some of the cool, funny things that have happened over the years.
Good times.
For sure. Everybody have a great week. I love you all very much. Be safe. We'll talk to you real soon. Bye-bye.